A good Erev Shabbat to you. I hope you're all well. I'd like to encourage you all to join the entire community for the first ever UK Community Shabbaton at home this weekend. Starting with a live Shweki concert, Shabbat message from the Chief Rabbi and Prime Minister Boris Johnson, and concluding with a musical Havdalah with Rabbi Lord Sachs and Chazan Johnny Turgle. Download and print the booklet will be sent to you by email as it's filled with inspiring Divrei Torah and fun activities to do at home over Shabbat. Mazel tovs this week. Firstly, mazel tov to Lisa Halpern on Sophie's bat mitzvah tomorrow, to Alex and Paul Grossman on the birth of a granddaughter, to Caroline and Anthony Birkin on the birth of the granddaughter. We wish Shafur Shalema a full and speedy recovery to anybody who's unwell in whatever way. Sadly, we wish long life to Roger Stebbing on the loss of his wife Daphne, to Dalia Cooper on the loss of her father Anthony Silverstone, to Elliot Min on the loss of his father Alexander Min, to the family of Ian Skolnick on his passing, and to Andrew Hatter on the loss of his father. I also want to take this opportunity to thank everyone who's volunteered and donated and set up events and taken part in activities virtually to help us stay connected. Now, friends, I'm sure everyone has memories of Pesach when they were a child. I know I certainly do. As a young boy, I remember traveling every year to spend Pesach with our family in Switzerland. And I can still vividly recall how the men would go to shul when Yom Tov came in, and I'd wait expectantly for them to return so that we could start the Seder. But I never understood why, when they got home, everyone would then still sit around talking in a language I didn't understand until it was dark. And only years later did I realize that they were waiting for the right time to start the Seder. And nevertheless, for me as the youngest of all the cousins, the highlight was, of course, singing Manish Tana, as is the tradition. Although I'd like to forget their tradition of dipping potato into salt water and having to drink cold borscht soup. But this hallowed tradition of saying Manish Tana, which has meant that over the centuries, the youngest has always approached Seder night with either trepidation or excitement, and in some cases both, is in fact a fascinating one. Because why is it that a child is given the task of asking such a question? Well, the obvious answer is that it's in fulfillment of the Torah requirements. The Torah instructs us, "V'higadata we have to relate the story of Yetzias Mitzrayim, going out of Egypt, to our children. And what better way than in the form of a question and answer? But the truth is, our children aren't only asking questions, they're actually providing us and presenting us with answers. As is so often in life, Mipi Olalim Vinokim Yisad Da'os. Dr. Melech says in Tehillim in Psalms chapter 8, from the mouths of infants and sucklings you have founded strength. As the saying goes, from the mouth of babes what comes from Tehillim. From the mouth of children often comes the profoundest wisdom and the profoundest questions and answers. The greatest lessons in life that we can often learn is if we have the patience and courage to listen to our children, what they say explicitly and what they intimate between the lines. And sadly, for many this year, they won't have young children at their Seder, and that's going to be painfully difficult. And there will be another question on their mind. Who should ask the Manish Tana? Well, the Baal HaGadol tells us, "V'afilu kulanu chachamim, kulanu nevonim, kulanu zikenim, kulanu yodim es haTorah." Even if we're all knowledgeable and we understand it all, even if we're old and we all know the Torah, mitzvah aleinu letzaper b'yetzias Mitzrayim. It's still a mitzvah for us to relate the story. And anyone who goes to great lengths to relate the story is praiseworthy. And the Kolbo adds, we're required to make this night different to all other nights in order to prompt the children to ask the questions that we can tell them the answers. However, says the Kolbo, Ein lo ben, ishto she'alosai. If there are no children, then a wife asks her husband, or one person asks their friend, Hayu levado, and if nebuch, if someone is alone, shoel la'atzmoi, manish tana halayla hazeh. They have to ask themselves the manish tana. And what question should we be asking ourselves? Well, not what is different about tonight. That's obvious. because the world is in lockdown. We're isolated. Normal life has been completely disrupted. Instead, we should be asking ourselves, Manishtana, how have I changed? Am I different to how I was last year? Have I grown in my knowledge and understanding? Have I deepened my practice and commitment? And that is why, under normal circumstances, it is the children who ask this question. Because children are the example to us all of constant growth and thirst for knowledge. When they ask Manishtana, they have reason to ask it. Because this year is different from them from last year. As last year was different to the year before, because they've grown. Because they now have greater understanding than they did 12 months ago. And it's that growth we have to ask, is that just for children? And the answer has to be, of course not. We too must continue to grow, if not physically, then at least intellectually. So friends, this Pesach, let's not ask how the world has changed. Let's ask, how have I changed? Pesach has come at the perfect time. Yes, it's been difficult, and there have been and there remains many challenges. It's not easy. And people are asking, what does this all mean? Why is this happening? And Pesach provides the answer. You see, today, society is very much like ancient Egypt, a superpower of its time. We think like they thought we're in control. We think like they thought we're God. We think like they thought that we don't need to rely on anyone or anything. And sadly, we've lost our patience and perseverance. We've lost some of our purpose and priorities. And so now is the time to learn and to teach our children what life is really about. Those plagues in Egypt were to show that God is in control. God says, and the Egyptians shall know that I am Hashem, when I stretch out my hand over Egypt and bring the Israelites out from their midst. But they were also for our benefit. Vidatem ki ani Hashem, God says, so you shall also know that I am God, that I am in control. Pesach provides us with a wonderful opportunity to remind ourselves of that fact. On Pesach, on Seder, we'll read the HaGadol. Now, HaGadol means not only to tell the story, but also it means to bind, to join together, to connect through the story. So that when we read it, we are giving our children and ourselves a sense of connectedness to Jews throughout the world and to Jews throughout time. It joins us to them, to a past, to a history, to a destiny, and most important of all, to a future. To a time when truly we can come together as families, as communities, as Am Yisrael, as the Jewish people, to celebrate this Zman Cherusenu, this season of our redemption and our freedom. For the meantime, at our Seder, let us say a fervent tefillah, a prayer that should be a bracha to us all. L'shana haba b'Yerushalayim. Next year, we should all be together in Jerusalem. V'chein yiratzon. May that be God's will. Amen.